Kia ora, hello, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you very much for joining us. Our forecast through until Saturday shows quite a lot going on between Australia and New Zealand. So let's get into it. We've got low pressure parked out here in basically the halfway mark between Sydney and Auckland. This low is pulling down this sort of subtropical airflow and pushing it into Sydney. That's why Sydney's having the very heavy rain and the flooding. This map is not only the animated wind map, but the colours on it also show where the rain is falling, where the most amount of moisture in the atmosphere is. So the brighter the blues, the more moisture there is in the atmosphere. In other words, a better chance for rain. And that's what's happening here in Sydney. It's being funneled into a narrow area, causing flooding. New Zealand, on the other hand, is looking quite dry. The shading that you see all around the rest of the map is much drier, just a couple of isolated showers here and there. So let's try and make sense of the next few days ahead. More rain in Sydney on Tuesday as that southeast or east to southeast wind carries on. High pressure right next to you though, that means that the rain fades away quite fast the further south you go, at least for Tuesday. Then that low pressure zone falls apart and moves into the North Island of New Zealand and the Upper South Island. Fairly mild with those subtropical winds coming down, and it's a different story at the other end of the country, a storm in the Southern Ocean keeping those westerly winds blowing through. As we get to Wednesday, that rain band over the North Island sort of pushes northwards, pushed north or nudged northwards by this big high that's coming on in. Now that means that we've got rain to our north, dry conditions elsewhere with just a few isolated showers, and the temperature still down a little bit in the lower South Island, but nothing too significant. But the more significant feature is the rain carries on over here in Sydney. Easterly winds at the top around the tropics, nothing too dramatic going up there, fairly normal weather, but it's that easterly flow that's coming down as a northerly here and then feeding back in again to Australia. Now as we move through the week, Thursday's setup sees high pressure from Australia briefly over New Zealand, so calm for a short time, and then you'll feel those northerlies coming in and later on showers in the north. Over in Aussie, still wet, still windy, right through till Thursday with this low, a new low forming and a colder southerly coming in to help deepen it. And that's where things get a little bit more interesting on this Thursday map, because as we go into Friday, look at that low. Perfect place to deepen. It's got two big highs well apart from each other. High number one out here, high number two out over here. And they are perfectly spinning this low with a big southerly on that side and a big northerly on that side. And it spins it like a spinning top. So we're seeing this low move around quite fast. Strong winds around it. There'll be severe gales in a few regions. It looks a little stormier than it is. When you zoom in, you'll find there'll be some calm areas and it's not pouring with rain everywhere. But certainly Friday does see some unsettled weather around New Zealand, and it's mild on Friday to some degree, but it gets wintry down here in the south later on. And by the time we go into the weekend, in comes the next wintry change, and that will deepen this low. Severe gales coming through for some areas. There could be snow flurries down around northern Southland, some parts of central Otago, and the highlands of Canterbury and the mountainous areas. For the Canterbury Plains, a little more borderline, but still possible. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go through the next few days. It actually all depends on the size of that high and the shape of it as to whether or not Canterbury gets a southeasterly or a southerly or even a sou'wester. At this stage, it looks like a wet, cold southeasterly for Saturday with wintry weather, and the North Island windy with westerlies blowing through. The one bit of good news on Saturday for Sydney, at least it's dry. That's all from me. We'll see you again on Tuesday with our next update.